Built-in wall niche shelves carry a quiet elegance that doesn't rely on size or bold design to leave an impression. Instead of feeling like a separate piece of furniture, they become part of the space itself, carved into the very bones of the room. They do not steal floor space or break up the openness of a wall with bulky outlines. They do not shout for attention with ornate detail or bright colors. Their beauty lies in subtlety, in the way they blend into architecture so seamlessly that they feel less like something added and more like something discovered, as though the wall itself had always held these pockets of depth waiting to be found. The effect they create begins even before they are filled. A flat expanse of wall, unbroken, can feel cold, lifeless, and two-dimensional. When a niche is introduced, even an empty one, the character of the wall changes. It's no longer a plain boundary dividing a room but a surface with depth, shadow, and quiet rhythm. The eye instinctively lingers there, drawn not by bright color or complex design, but by the simple intrigue of a recessed space, a hollow framed by the wall that seems to soften its otherwise solid presence. That hollow gives the wall a moment of pause, a place where light can fall differently, where shadow can gather, where the visual weight of the room can breathe. When shelves are added within that recess and objects find their place, the niche transforms from a quiet architectural accent into a curated stage. It can be purely practical, holding neatly arranged books, folded linens, or daily essentials, or it can lean into artfulness, with carefully spaced objects, a single sculpture, a piece of pottery, a trailing plant, or a photograph, each given enough air to feel intentional, not cluttered. The items inside don't feel like they are crowding the room, because they are tucked into the wall, contained within their own frame. The depth keeps the overall space feeling open even when the shelves are filled, a balance that freestanding furniture rarely achieves. The material choices inside a wall niche deepen this effect. Some are finished identically to the surrounding wall, same paint, same texture, so the niche feels like a soft void, an effortless extension of the structure that doesn't call attention to itself. Others are lined with contrasting surfaces that give them a warmth or identity apart from the wall around them. A back panel of rich walnut, for instance, can turn a pale painted wall into a space with layers, drawing the eye inward with the natural warmth of wood. A lining of textured plaster can add a soft play of shadow, especially when paired with gentle lighting. Even a subtle stone surface, something understated like limestone or slate, can shift the mood from ordinary to refined without tipping into excess. The shelves themselves might match the tone of the lining or stand apart in contrast. Simple planks floating across the space or slim ledges supported invisibly so that the recess feels light and unbroken. Lighting is often what gives these niches their true presence. In the daytime, natural light moving through a room will already create a soft interplay of brightness and shadow across the recessed depth, but at night or in dim conditions, built-in lighting can transform the niche entirely. A small recessed downlight, a hidden lit strip along the upper edge, or soft illumination beneath each shelf can make the objects inside seem weightless, highlighted like art in a gallery. The glow spills outward just enough to give the surrounding wall a sense of life, making the niche feel like more than a place for storage. It becomes a subtle beacon, a source of warmth and ambience that can replace harsher overhead lighting in the evenings. Even the absence of direct lighting can be intentional, allowing the niche to sit in shadow, making whatever is inside feel understated and calm. Their adaptability is part of their enduring appeal. In living rooms, they often flank fireplaces or sit along otherwise blank walls, turning those stretches into moments of quiet balance, holding books, ceramics, or artwork that feels curated rather than cluttered. In hallways, they can punctuate long, plain walls, offering a reason to pause as you walk, perhaps holding plants, framed photos, or soft lighting elements that make the space feel alive instead of transitional. In bathrooms, they serve both form and function, carved into shower walls to hold soaps and bottles, or above vanities where they can hold towels, candles, or small decorative elements, reducing the need for bulky cabinetry while keeping the space sleek and ordered. The core concept is always the same, using the wall's depth to create storage and display, but the feeling changes with each context, always tied to the balance between utility and atmosphere. Beyond how they hold objects, wall niches change how a room feels on a deeper level. Because they recede, they don't create the sense of intrusion that traditional shelving or cabinets might. They reduce visual clutter, even if the same number of items are stored. Everything within them feels placed, intentional, framed. The wall, instead of being a flat plane that must be dressed with external furniture, becomes active, sculpted, and dimensional. A room with these niches tends to feel calmer, cleaner, and more considered, not because it holds fewer things, but because the things it does hold have a natural home. Over the years, the niches themselves develop a sense of life, just as the objects inside them change with the rhythms of the home. The wood of their shelves, if left natural, deepens in tone, picking up richness as light and touch leave their marks. Painted surfaces might gain a subtle patina, softening the edges, while textured materials like plaster or stone gather character, their surfaces mellowing in a way that feels authentic rather than worn. The objects inside shift with time. A favorite book replaces another. A plant grows and is moved elsewhere. A new photograph is set in place. But the niche remains constant, a quiet frame for whatever life brings into the home. Perhaps the most important quality these built-in shelves bring is a sense of belonging. Unlike freestanding furniture, which can feel temporary, something that might be rearranged or replaced as trends and needs shift, a wall niche feels like a permanent gesture. It is integrated into the home, not just in structure but in spirit, offering a space for the things that matter without feeling like another object in the room. Its permanence has a calming effect, grounding the room in a sense of continuity, as though the architecture itself is offering a hand, saying, "Here, place your things, and let the rest of the room breathe." In the end, built-in wall niche shelves do more than hold objects or save space. They shape how we experience a room, adding layers without adding weight, giving walls depth and life without breaking their flow. They work with light and shadow to create subtle rhythms. They soften the feel of a space without cluttering it. And they offer storage and display in a way that feels artful rather than utilitarian. They remind us that sometimes the best design isn't about adding more, but about using what's already there more thoughtfully. And because they are quiet in their beauty, they never demand that you notice them. But once they are there, it's hard to imagine the space without them. Standing in a room with well-designed wall niches, you can feel the difference even if you don't consciously see it. Built-in wall niche shelves aren't just storage. They are part of the wall itself, carved into its depth so they feel permanent, not added. They don't stick out. They don't crowd the space. They sit quietly within it, holding objects, light, and shadow in a way that makes a room feel deliberate, like every inch was considered instead of just filled. These niches can be tall and narrow, running from floor to ceiling like vertical recesses, or small and horizontal, tucked into areas where a traditional shelf would feel too heavy. Some are single openings, one clean rectangle set into the wall, while others are stacked or staggered, creating a rhythm across the surface. The shapes can be perfectly square, long and lean, arched, or softly curved, but they all share one thing: they disappear into the wall rather than protruding from it. The shelves themselves are often made of wood, sometimes matching the floor or furniture so the room feels cohesive, sometimes standing out softly with a tone that brings warmth to plaster or painted surfaces. Light oak against a white wall creates a calm, airy feeling. Deep walnut within a neutral room adds weight without needing decoration. Some designs use reclaimed wood, brushed and sealed so it feels natural but not rough, adding texture that softens the smooth walls around it. Lighting is what makes many of these niches feel alive. Hidden LED strips or small spotlights line the edges, casting soft glows across the wood and whatever objects they hold. At night, the niches become more than storage. They turn into gentle focal points, glowing softly while the rest of the room falls into shadow. The shelves aren't just functional anymore. They are part of the room's mood. What they hold depends on the space. Some stay nearly empty, a single vase, a piece of sculpture, or nothing at all, just the wood and light doing the work. Others hold books, plants, or small collections, but never so much that they feel cluttered. The negative space around the objects is as important as the object themselves, because these shelves aren't built to be packed. They are built to breathe. Part of their appeal comes from how they make a wall feel architectural rather than just structural. A blank wall can feel cold, even oppressive if it's large. Adding furniture in front of it can help, but built-in niches make the wall itself feel alive. They create depth where there was none. They break up the flatness without adding bulk. And because they are recessed, they don't intrude into the room or compete with movement and space. The finishes are kept simple, because the form and placement do the heavy lifting. The wood is usually treated with oils or matte sealers, deepening the tone without gloss so it doesn't compete with the lighting. The surrounding wall stays neutral, so the shelves feel like natural breaks in the surface rather than bold interruptions. Even when darker wood is used, it's paired with soft lighting so the contrast feels warm rather than stark. Installing or building these shelves isn't as complex as it might seem. but it's precise. The recess must feel seamless, the edges clean, the depth even. The wood fitted so it feels like it grew out of the wall instead of being forced into it. The lighting is wired so it disappears into the edges, no fixtures visible, just soft, indirect glow that feels like the shelves light themselves. Once finished, these niches don't feel like furniture. They feel like part of the architecture, as permanent as the wall they are cut from. In the daytime, they add quiet depth, breaking up expanses of plaster or paint without making the room busy. At night, they become soft pools of light, pulling the eye gently without overwhelming the space. And when the room falls silent, when the lights dim, the noise fades, and only the niches remain softly glowing, they settle into their real role. They don't just hold objects. They hold the room's calm. The wood's tone deepens in the low light, the shadows along the recess edges stretch, and everything feels slower, steadier, as though the wall itself is breathing with the space. It's in those still hours, when the rest of the house fades into quiet, that built-in wall niche shelves prove their value. They are not just storage. They are not just design flourishes. They are a way of giving a room depth without weight, rhythm without clutter, light without harshness. They make the wall part of the experience, grounding the room without ever pulling it away from its calm.